Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live show for Booktube Chicks Book Club for February. We read Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, a prequel to The Hate You Give, and we're finally all together to talk about it. The way our live shows go is for the first 10 minutes, we are going to be doing just general thoughts, non-spoilers, and then after that, we're going to go into spoilers. I think it's safe to say we'll also be spoiling The Hate You Give, but at the same time, who hasn't read it at this point? It's so good. So yeah, before we get into general thoughts, Kat, do you want to do the synopsis?
Sure. And I just want to let you know, my Wi-Fi is slightly spotty, so if I disappear, I apologize in advance. I'm the one with the Wi-Fi problems now, Chloe. Concrete Rose is actually the prequel to The Hate You Give, as we all know. It's by Angie Thomas, and it follows Maverick, who is Star's dad in The Hate You Give, and it kind of chronicles him to who he is in The Hate You Give. Kind of his life, whether he wants to be in a gang or what kind of life he wants to lead. Does he want to be part of whatever all of his friends are doing, be who his dad was, which is a gangbanger, or does he want to go in a different path? And there is a tragedy in the book and kind of helps shape who Maverick is. So without going to many spoilers, it's just the origins of Maverick, and it kind of leads into what happens in The Hate You Give in a little bit. For my initial thoughts, I just want to say I listened to the audiobook. I am in the process of moving right now. I just am in my new place, and I have absolutely no clue where my book went. I thought I knew. I thought it was in one particular box, but I was wrong. It was not in there, and I cannot find the book. So I had to listen to the audiobook, and I have to say the narrator was really, really excellent. I feel like the narrators for all the Angie Thomas's books have been very, very good. But I really liked the narrator for this book. I feel like he did Maverick justice, and honestly, when I read about Maverick, he was like, the narrator was exactly how I pictured in my head Maverick would sound. I did give this book 4 stars, mostly because while I loved the story, I just didn't feel that connection that I had with The Hate You Give and the second book, which I'm now blanking on the name. I just didn't kind of come up. Yes, on a come up. I didn't quite feel as much of a connection with Maverick as I did with, for example, Star and Hate You Give. I really felt for Star. I felt like I was in her shoes. And with Maverick's story, I felt like I was an outsider just observing his story. And so I did give it 4 stars, but that the story is still really, really important and still really, really excellent. And it talks about really important issues. And honestly, seeing who Maverick is as a young person, he's 17 years old in the book, seeing who he is as a teenager and knowing who he is in the future, I really liked seeing that connection and being able to see his growth as a character, his personality and everything. So I just didn't quite have that same connection as I did with Star. So that's why I ended up giving this book 4 stars.
I gave it 5 stars. I feel like I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was he's such a character in The Hate You Give that it was really nice to see kind of his origin story and what made him who he is. And I agree with you. I think the narrator did an incredible job. And he really, really brought Maverick to life. And that just made it that much better. I thought the narrator just did such a good job. But I really liked the story, and I liked seeing everything that happened. And it's kind of bananas when you think about it. My son is going to be 20 this year. So I had to keep saying he's 17. He's 17. Not just one kid, but so many things. He went through a lot at such a very, very, very young age. And yeah. So
yeah.
So I did not listen to the audiobook, but I found that while reading it, it is very fast paced and quick to get through. I give it 5 stars, and I did actually take notes, which I normally don't. And I kind of went in with no expectations really, that just that I was excited to be back in the world and with maybe not all the same characters, but characters that we've met before. So I was really excited to go back into this book, and I was not disappointed. I don't think Angie Thomas ever disappoints us. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad we got to read this for February, and I'm just excited to chat about it. So with that being said, we are going to be going into spoilers for Concrete Rose and The Hate You Give. So what do we want to talk about, guys? Can I pull up my notes?
I'm not even sure like where to begin. I don't know if I want to jump that deep yet.
Chloe, you have notes. What do your notes say?
I'm getting my notes, girl. Give me a second. Okay, so what I have, it's been a second since I've seen these notes. Is I felt that the book really picked up after the first chapter. So like once we reached like chapter 2, I felt like it was picking up more. And then, I mean, I guess we'll just start at the beginning where he's going to take a paternity test. And there's like it's like you know what's going to happen, but you're still like on the edge of your seat.
Yeah,
anybody else
thought
got
that was
anything there? I don't know how to finish that.
No, but I remember feeling that way, like we know how it ends up because we know what happens in The Hate You Give, and yet there was still like anticipation. Like I think I even gasped when like we found out that the baby was his, because it's just like I was so in the story and I was like, wait, what? You know, like it was still interesting to read, even though we knew what was coming. It still felt like a surprise was unfolding throughout the story.
I guess from that scene, I wasn't necessarily like, okay, like I already know it's his baby, so can we move on? It was more like the scene where he goes to the bathroom and the mother, I was like, why did I not expect that to happen? I was just like, this bitch actually left her son. And I was like, dang, that's so like shitty. But then you found out later that she's like, well, she's a shitty person, but you find out that she's like going through postpartum depression, and I was like, okay, I understand that. But it was still like when it happened, I was like, dang, this bitch actually left her son. Like she actually like left him by himself. It was just, that was the part that really got to me from that scene.
And it's like you shouldn't be shocked about it. Like you felt like something was gonna happen, but still it was like, whoa, okay, this is sudden.
17. Like I mean, and I had a kid young, so like I get it.
How old were you?
I had just turned 21 when I found out I was pregnant.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
But like 17, like what were you doing at 17? You know, I think I was like a junior in high school, maybe I was a senior thinking about going to college.
I was a senior. Yeah.
Not ready to have a kid.
Wait, hold on. My whole issue. So the king, he told her to sleep with him, right? That's how the scenario happened. Where they slept together. Like he let him borrow the girl. And I'm just like, this girl, like these girls are so stupid. Like he literally just hoard you out. Like, and you're okay with that. You want to have his baby. Like, I was just like, when I read that scene, I was like, this bitch is so dumb. Like, she abandons her baby. And then she goes back to the guy that literally pimped her out to his friend. And I was just like,
But
I was just like, I don't really.
She named the baby King, so I don't think I don't think she was expecting it to be Mavericks.
No. Like, no, it's fine. I'm just like the whole situation of like them sleeping together. It wasn't like, oh, we had a lapse of judgment. We slept together. It was literally like King told her, hey, you can.
Was it that he was like on a break with Lisa or something?
He was on a break with Lisa.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
right.
the fact that King told this girl, like, go sleep with my friend to make him feel better. And I'm like, and she's like, okay. I'm just like, girl, he just pimped you out. You don't even realize. Oh man.
And like, she was so confident that it was King's. It's like an episode of Maury. Like,
and then everybody was like, he looks exactly like Maverick, so why? It's like, oh my God. And then she was surprised that it wasn't King's baby.
I do like that. Like, throughout the story, it's kind of like a ongoing plot point of trying to rename the child and trying to come up with that name. I really liked seeing the thought process there, because I know I mean, I don't know about you, but when I read The Hate You Give, the name Seven is not a common name, and I liked seeing where he, like, his thought process with coming up with that name, because in The Hate You Give, he's always like, I gave all of you names with meaning. So I liked seeing that thought process that he had.
Yeah, the number is 7. No, I like how he's like, at one point, like in the book, I remember like I was on my way to work and I was listening, and he's like, he expressed frustration that people kept asking him, you named your child after a number, and he kept having to like repeat to explain. Yeah.
It's like, really, at that point, it's like, what is it your business?
But yeah, it was that they threw us right in there within like having to take a paternity test. It was interesting, and I really enjoyed seeing, like, I liked how they started off the book, like just giving us like a glimpse onto a character that's in The Hate to Give,
Well, I remember in the Hate You Give, there was a lot of, I felt like Lisa many times kind of said, me and your dad, we went through some stuff. And, obviously they don't really break down what all of it was. That he had a kid with someone else. So there was obviously something there, but like getting to see their journey and what they went through. And I think it was kind of interesting, right? Because Mav changes a lot, but also Lisa does too, because even though she cares about him, she doesn't really want to commit to settling down with someone who's going to be in a gang, who's going to be selling drugs. Like, she wants something better for herself, and so you watch them kind of like deal with that, but they clearly love each other.
Did you guys happen to catch the slight like cameo of Dear Martin or Dear Justice, Nick Stone characters in that? I loved that.
Character, was there 2? I mean, I guess
there was
mom.
Yeah, there was one, and it was his mom, who was pregnant with Justice at the time, who's the character in Dear Martin. But I knew that Angie Thomas had tweeted something about them being in the same universe, but after I forgot about it and then read that, and I loved it. I instantly made the connection, and I can't find the tweet anymore. I can't find anything related to that again. But I love that little cameo that he did, and I'm wondering if it's I haven't read Dear Justice, I've only read Dear Martin, but I'm wondering if there's also like some sort of cameo in there as well.
Yeah, I haven't read Dear Justice, but I thought that was pretty cool too.
And I guess we'll talk about like the main like turning point of the book where Dre was shot, which I should have expected in an Angie Thomas book, but like it still caught me off guard.
I felt like it kind of caught me off guard too. I don't know why, because like I guess I wasn't really thinking about everything that Mav had gone through, that we already knew about from The Hate You Give, but it caught me off guard because there was just a part of me that thought this book was going to be like a glimpse into his life, but without trauma necessarily.
Like less traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Completely
I was
agree.
like, oh damn. Yeah. So like I wasn't expecting that.
I think, to be honest, thinking about that scene and what Star went through, I felt like I was more upset about it in this book for some reason. It's like, you guys, I didn't expect it either, but it was just like Maverick really took it hard. And like, not to say that Star didn't take it hard, because she was right there when it happened, and Maverick didn't exactly see it happen. He just happened to see it like a few minutes later. He saw his friend dead. But like just the way that Maverick reacted, it really like messed with me. And like, I'll never forget the words that he said, that he saw his friend with a hole in his head, and I was just like, oh, I don't need that image in my head, especially because I actually really liked Dre, and even though he's a character that we only like got a few very small scenes with, really liked him. And I already he was already one of those characters that I was gonna love throughout the book, and it just so happened that he was the one who died, and I was like, no, it was a very traumatic scene.
And he was like such an influence on Maverick and trying to shape him to be who he is in The Hate You Give.
So that was rough.
Yeah, and then like the whole, like he said he tried to give him CPR, and I remember he's saying that the paramedics, him being upset at the paramedics because they just showed up. There was something that, like, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines that they just looked at the body and decided that he was already gone, and they didn't even try to do anything.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, and then he was getting mad at the paramedics for it, and whew, that was hard.
That's the one thing about Angie Thomas books. Like, they're all just so emotional, and it catches you off guard. Well, I can't say the same about the other books, but like with this one, it definitely caught us off guard.
Yeah, that was a hard scene.
I don't know about you guys, but like I found myself thinking back to Maverick in The Hate You Give, and kind of like comparing the adult versus the 17-year-old, and seeing, like, I kept seeing how in this book he evolved into the person he is in The Hate You Give, and seeing like all these different influences on him. I can't remember his name, but the person that owned the grocery store. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Mr. Watts?
Woodruff? Something like that?
Mr. Wyatt.
Okay. Wow, we were both.
I opened up
it was
a book.
I remember that.
I opened up and it was like right there on the page, and I was like, oh, perfect. But yeah, like his influence on him, and we see where, like, how he comes to be who he is in The Hate You Give, like with the grocery store and the garden. I don't know. I really enjoyed the evolution, guys. the evolving.
I kind of feel like, I mean, age and experience will kind of do that to people, but even though young Maverick had all these like challenges and obstacles that he kind of was working through, And obviously Maverick is who he is in The Hate U Give. I still feel like in The Hate U Give he feels a bit more rough around the edges.
Mhm.
I don't know how else to describe it other than that. Like his core is obviously the same, but he just seems not as hopeful, or maybe not as vulnerable as he does in this book.
Yeah, definitely more of like more of an adult experience
Yeah,
in The Hate U Give and time.
but maybe also a slightly, like, not a ton, but like maybe slightly jaded also.
What do you mean?
Because like in Concrete Rose, it seems like he's ready to make changes. He is willing to do whatever he needs to do to be with Lisa, to be there for his family. Where, in The Hate U Give, it felt like he was trying to be there for Star, but also, I don't know, there was a lot going on with Lisa and Maverick in The Hate U Give, I felt, where she kind of wanted to move and have a better life for everyone, and he wanted to stay, and there was like a lot of back and forth with that. And then there was like the stuff with her brother. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm saying.
I feel like I definitely need to reread The Hate U Give.
So do I.
Now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a minute since I finished this book, but I feel like I should reread that.
Yeah.
I saw the movie not that long ago, so it feels slightly fresh.
I feel like I should rewatch that too.
I really loved Maverick's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, me too.
And
one thing, speaking of Maverick's mom, adding Maverick's dad into the mix, I was surprised by how understanding he was that the mother decided to basically get with her best friend.
Wait,
I completely forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
You were surprised at who?
The dad? The dad was so understanding. Like I figured, like, maybe I'm just like stereotyping, like guy in prison in a gang, his wife goes, hooks up with her best friend. I feel like he should have been more upset about it, but he was actually super understanding, and I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. Okay.
It didn't feel like he was that I think like it wasn't necessarily that he was understanding, he just kind of knew, he already knew about it, so it wasn't like new information necessarily. But also it seemed like he was just like, he didn't want to put that stuff on Maverick, right? So like it kind of felt like he was like, don't you worry about that, that's not your problem. So it didn't necessarily feel like he was
that's not how I read this. But okay, I mean, I get what you're saying, but that's not how I felt. Like he was. I feel like I don't know. I expected him to be more upset about it. Maybe not,
he's
but
tolerating it.
Yeah, I feel like he was tolerating, and I was like, I was not expecting this.
But like he also knew before they got together.
Yeah. But I feel like if he was upset about it, he would have told Maverick in some way, shape, or form, or Angie Thomas would have let us know in some way, shape, or form that dad was not okay with what was happening.
But I mean, what could he really do, even if he did?
No, I understand. I'm just saying he was very, he didn't react quite how I expected.
Trying to find because while we're on the topic of his mom, trying to find the Thanksgiving scene where he was going to feed Seven, and Aisha was there, and she was just like, his mama can feed him, and you can eat, or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love that. The shade, but also the nerve of Aisha to come eat their food and not take care of her son. I'm trying to find it.
I mean, King also invited her, which I was like,
Which I was
"Damn,
like,
dude. You
that's a
should have
little
told your
much.
friend. Yeah, you should have told your friend.
Oh, I
Jesus."
think I just found it.
But yeah, I do like Maverick's mom. I like that she was really helping him, but she was also understanding that he was also not only a new dad, but he's also a young dad. And like
Mhm.
that whole scene where the Seven was crying and Maverick just kind of had a breakdown and he tried to
Right.
get his mom to help,
Mhm.
and his mom was like refusing to help or
Mhm.
just trying to get him, you're the dad, you gotta take care of your child. And he kind of just went outside and let the child cry. And then that moment when she actually went and put the child down to sleep but to calm down, and then she came outside and told him, get some sleep. I put your child down or something. And then Maverick actually felt guilty for having to walk out on his child, but she was like, the mom, I don't remember what she said, but she was like, every parent has his moments. Every parent kind of needs to walk away. And I was like, I like that she supports him while at the same time trying to like steer him into being a parent, to being a good parent.
Yeah, I feel like she kind of provides tough love.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Because I know I've seen instances of like people who have children really young, and then like their parent ends up taking care of the kid for the most part, which I guess is convenient for the person that had the kid, but I don't know if they're necessarily like learning to be a parent.
Yeah, I'm like briefly skimming the Thanksgiving scene, and it makes me definitely want to go back and reread The Hate You Give to see what their relationship is in that book between Maverick and Aisha. Because just the way it is now, it's like, oh, I gotta know.
It seemed like a very high tension.
I don't even remember Aisha.
Like,
yeah,
it seemed like there was just high tension between them. Like whenever he needed to do anything for Seven, he would have to go pick him up over there or whatever. And I don't know. I feel like I can picture the scene with Aisha in the movie, and she was just like yelling at her kids down the hallway. Because I think she ended up with other kids after that.
Yeah. Plus, didn't they have another kid after Star? A younger one, maybe? I can't remember. I can't remember his interesting name.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he did. I knew it the other day because I had thought about it.
Was it Sakani?
Yeah.
That right?
Yeah.
Well, now I wish we knew what that name meant. Again, it all goes back to I'll have to reread The Hate You Give. Okay.
How's it spelled? Is it spelled Sekani?
Yeah.
It says it means laugh.
I don't really have, as far as like my thoughts while reading, I don't really have much else on my notes. We kind of went through it all. I will say, I think I said it earlier, this book was really fast paced when I read it. Like I think I finished it in 3 days.
Yeah. Oh. It's Chloe that disappeared.
Okay.
Okay, so she was saying it was fast paced.
It was for me. Like, I told you I was having a hard time at first to listen to the audiobook, but I restarted the audiobook and I finished it within like I remember I texted you saying that it was really slow day at work, so I was listening to it, so I was able to get most of the book done that day.
Sorry, I was switching back to my notes and I accidentally closed the tab.
Yeah,
I don't know. Did it stop the live?
Yeah, I agree with you. It was fast paced. I when I couldn't find my book and I started listening to an audiobook, I was having a hard time like getting into the book. But then I restarted the book again on a Friday, and I listened to on my way to work. And then I had a slow day at work, so I was listening to audiobook the whole time, and I got most of the book done while at work, and then I finished it that night. So I literally finished the book in one day.
Yeah,
And then, but then the
Go ahead.
audiobook itself wasn't that long. It was 8 hours long. I don't know how long the book is because I don't really have it, but the audiobook was very short.
It's like 350 pages, maybe.
Okay.
It's like average. Yeah, it's 360. Yeah, when I was reading it, the first chapter, similar to you, the first chapter I was like, I don't know where this is going. I'm not sure how I feel about this. But then once it hit the second chapter, like probably like 50 pages in, I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. I'm really enjoying this. This is Angie Thomas.
Something that, like, I guess because I read a lot from, female protagonists and main characters, it's been a while. I feel like, have we read any like from male characters in the Booktube chicks?
Reverie was, but I can't think of anything else.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while, so it was just kind of interesting.
Good question.
I'm going back to check.
Female, yeah.
It was just interesting to note, obviously Maverick being a guy, and there was just like scenes where we're seeing and experiencing things through his male gaze, right? And it was just, not necessarily good or bad, just different. And it just, kind of made me realize that I don't think of things in those terms or that way. I wouldn't see that scene in that way, but and I'm wondering if maybe that's why you might have felt a little bit more attached to Star. Reading The Hate You Give, maybe.
Yeah, that's possible. I'm not sure, like, because I enjoyed the story immensely, but when I was reading it, I was comparing to how I felt with The Hate You Give, and maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should read it on its own merit. But like, I kept thinking, like, I don't love this book as much as I love The Hate You Give, so I don't know if I can give it 5 stars. But I really, really, really love the book.
Going back and looking at like past live shows that we've done since the Booktube chicks began, we've had 2 that are completely a male perspective, and then we've had
that
like,
including this one.
No, 3 that have been a completely male perspective, and then we've had like 3 or 4 that are like a dual perspective, and one of them is at least one of them is a male. One, yeah, that was. Don't read the comments.
Okay, yeah.
Heart of Iron and The Diviners.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like the majority of the books that we read is young adult, and I feel like young adult is primarily like a female demographic, and I feel like also the majority tends to be female main characters.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't consciously reach for books that are just like female main characters. It just
happens that way.
It just happens.
But
do we have anything else?
One of our favorite series of all time is Harry Potter, and it's like, the main character is a boy, so
I've been wanting to revisit like Percy Jackson or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I want to say. Just that, like, Maverick's struggle to, want to be the man and want to be the tough guy and want to be, like, all of these things, like he wanted to go after the person who he believed killed his cousin. Was that, like, solidified? Because I feel like it kind of added up to that person being the murderer, but then it seemed like he said that he wasn't, and I don't know if he was just saying that.
I believe he was. I believe he was, but Maverick decided, like, remember he said he went there to try to kill the guy, and then we don't know what happened. And then he comes, I think he goes to Lisa and he tells her what happened, and he tells her that he couldn't do it. He couldn't. But I believe the guy did, Red, I think his name was. I believe he actually did do it.
Forgot about him too, like as a character.
But I don't think he ever actually got the justice unless something happens in between this book and the Hate to Give.
But like, I like that conversation with Lisa because, that kind of opened her eyes to who he could be. And I think that also opened Maverick's eyes, even though he wasn't really ready to see it, that it was okay, that not being able to do it didn't make him weak. And that like he was kind of making the right choice. And I love the phone call with his dad. And how kind of a lot of it just led back to Maverick's name and being an independent thinker. And so I just really appreciate that he made the decision to cut ties with King. And because, I mean, if you think about it, like, if you're in a situation where, you could work at a grocery store or whatever, a convenience store, and make like a certain amount of money, but you have to work a ton of hours. And then on the other hand, you can sell drugs and make a ton of money, right? Like, it's almost like, why would anybody ever choose the convenience store?
Right.
Like, just that setup and those choices, like, you really have to want to do the right thing and really just pick a harder life for yourself. Obviously, if you get in trouble or you get caught, that you'd be hurting yourself and your family and you might end up in jail and stuff. But I think it makes sense why a lot of boys choose that path.
Yeah.
So it was just nice that, him and Lisa together were kind of ready to go a different way and be there for their family together.
And I felt that in the last like third of the book is where we're really seeing him shape into who he is in the Hate You Give. Like, that's where it's like pretty much solidified, is in the last third of the book. And I also really liked seeing, I might have already said this, I liked seeing how come back to me, I'll think about that.
Yeah.
Basically, like how they got to the point of picking Star's name, like how they got to that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that.
The ending. I was like, yeah, that was a great. I was like, are you gonna say it? Like, I was listening. I was like, are you gonna say it? Just say it. It's Star. Just say it. And he didn't say it. He gave all the hints, but he didn't say it.
But it's like, but we know.
Yeah.
I was expecting, because obviously there's like a bit of a gap, right, between where this ends and where the Hate You Give picks up. I was expecting to see like Mav going to jail for King. Like, I was expecting to see how that was going to play out, because he ends up
Does he go
accidentally.
to jail? I don't remember.
I was like, did he go to jail? Like, it was mentioned.
I need to reread the book.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's how he got out of the Kings. And like, the setup is there in this book, so I don't know if she plans to do like another.
Yeah, I was reading. I was like, I feel like I remember him going to jail, but I haven't read the Hate You Give in a long time, so I was, and then it didn't happen. I was like, maybe I was wrong.
And I think they say somewhere else, like, in order to get out of a gang, you have to do time for someone, or like a couple of other things, or get beat up, or I don't know. Like, there was a few things. I just dropped my. Hold on. Okay, I dropped my lamp. So that setup was there, and then when he accidentally flushed the stuff down the toilet, he was like, I'll pay you back. Just give me a few months. And King was like, no.
Oh.
He was like, you'll pay me back sometime. I'll let you know. So that setup was there. And I definitely remember that in The Hate U Give, they said that he did time. I don't know. I'm thinking 3 years, but I don't know if that's accurate.
I remember that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he did time for something that King did. And he was like, all right, but if I do this and I don't rat you out, then you need to let me go. And that's pretty much what ends up happening. So like, I thought that part of the story was going to be in the book, and I was surprised it wasn't.
It would be interesting if she wrote a sequel to the prequel.
Yeah. She might not. She might just like leave that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I have a feeling she won't, but it'd be interesting to see if she does.
I am interested in seeing the next thing that she does, though, because I think even On the Come Up is in the same world, so it's like, is she going to branch out of it, or what's going to happen next? I know she has an anthology coming out this year. I can't remember.
I think it's this year. I think it's maybe in June. I'm not sure, but it's called Blackout.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds really interesting. They're writing a bunch of stories about, like, short stories about spending time in a New York blackout.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know what she's gonna do next. I'm curious, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing on Goodreads. So do we have anything else we want to chat about before we go? Blackout's not that long. It's only listed as 288 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I will say I do think Maverick, as like, I feel like he's smart, but he makes idiotic choices, like having unprotected sex with Lisa. And I'm like, the pulling out method does not 100% guarantee, and you're an idiot. And like, you already have a baby, and you decide
that's the part that I don't
and I'm
get.
just like, and you decide to do that. Like, yes, it sucks that you didn't have a condom at the moment, but you know what? It's also, you're not gonna die if you don't have sex with Lisa right at that second. So.
And that was like another part where, again, like, I felt surprised, and I was like, wait, does Star come that quick after? And I was like, no, maybe it's just like, a scare for right now. And I really didn't think Lisa was going to be pregnant.
He was like, I was like, you're so dumb. Like, this already happened.
I know, I mean, you saw
like, you gotta admit, the guy is super fertile. Like, like, he pulls out, and it happens. I'm like, Jesus, your little swimmers are very strong.
I think that was even mentioned in the book too.
Like, yeah, his grandma said that. But I mean, like, the disappointment in his mom when she finds out that Lisa, she's like, how did I fail you?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
And then,
I was like, yes, you tell it, because apparently he didn't understand it the first time. So yes, you tell it to him, because like, I feel like he didn't get it the first time. Like, his mom was very understanding, and like, I'm not saying she should have been disappointed that he fathered a child at 17, but like, the fact that it happened again, I feel like he didn't learn his lesson the first time. And not that I'm saying that it was a bad thing Star came out of it, but like, like, how dumb can you be? Like, this happened because you again didn't wear protection, and you decide to make the same choice again.
I mean, your life is definitely not the same after having a kid. Like, even if you try to revisit goals and dreams, like, after the kid gets a little bit older, it's still like, once that baby is born, you're starting a new life at that point.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine having two that close together
at 17. 17, 18.
It's a lot. Surprisingly, though, like, I feel like he there were some moments where he was just like, oh, I can't believe the baby's mine. What am I going to do? I can't buy Jordans. I can't do this. Like he had his moments, but for the most part, it seemed like he kind of adopted role as parent, like super quickly.
I
guess
guess
he was kind of forced to, because Aisha wasn't taking care of the baby. So,
and I feel like it's a good thing that Maverick has a good head on his shoulders, because he could have easily been like, I ain't taking this baby. He could have been easily been that kind of like dad, that just fathers the child and literally has nothing to do with it, like leaves the girl pregnant or whatever. And
but his mom
the fact that he took responsibility, and the fact that he was understanding at first of Aisha abandoning the baby. So Maverick, while he makes dumb mistakes and he makes stupid choices, he does have a good head on his shoulders, and so I respect him for that.
In my notes, because I organize my notes in like before I start reading, while I'm reading, then after I'm reading. At the bottom of like the after I'm reading, even then I knew, I was like, I need to reread The Hate You Give.
Yeah.
It's on there.
Yeah, I agree. Me too.
I already have so many other books I want to reread this year, though.
Do you want to do final thoughts?
Sure. Who would like to start?
I can start. I don't know if they've already decided that this is going to be a movie, but I would love for this to be a movie. Mm-hmm. Also, I think maybe On the Come Up has already been optioned. Yeah. I didn't read that one, so I don't know if it has the same like themes, or if it's, I know like there's rapping and stuff in it.
You should definitely read it. It's very, very, very good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I have it. I just have to read it.
It has the same themes as The Hate You Give.
Okay.
So in The Hate You Give, they talk about like racism and prejudice against Black people. Like when her best friend, which I forget her name, but I know the actress's name. That they were talking about like her friend died and how he was a thug. The same themes show up On the Come Up, because she's a rapper, and she releases a song that people kind of misunderstand, and they start calling her a thug and a gangster. So it kind of has the same themes. You should read it. It's very, very good.
Mm-hmm. But again, I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It was, I guess, relatively fast-paced, but definitely interesting, and kept me engaged the whole time.
Kat, you want to do yours?
Oh, I was like, I wasn't sure she was done. So yes, I listened to an audiobook on this. The narrator was excellent. I really enjoyed getting to see like the origins of Star's story, like through Maverick's story, and seeing how his story panned out and led to the creation of Star. It was a really, really good story. I did give the book 4 stars. On its own, I guess you could say it's a 5-star book, but I just like in my head, because it's a prequel to The Hate You Give, I keep comparing it to how I felt with The Hate You Give. The Hate You Give was phenomenal, and I really love that book. It's one of my favorite books, and that was a 5-star book. And this book wasn't quite as magical for me as The Hate You Give was, which is the reason why I rated it 4-star. But it was still really, really amazing, really, really good, and it talks about really important themes like teenage pregnancy and other things, and it talks about gang life and trying to get out of the gang life, and it has tragedy in it, and it's really, really important read, and it's very, very good. I'll highly recommend it to everybody. Obviously you should read The Hate You Give first if you haven't already, but yeah, 4-star read. On its own, it's definitely a 5.
I agree. I also gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed how fast paced it was, and just being able to revisit this world that Angie Thomas has created, and just reading it and knowing that it was going to be such a good book, just as other things that Angie Thomas has done. And I'm really excited to see what else she's going to do in the future. And I think at this point, with all of us, I would say she's an auto by author, and I'm really excited to see what she does in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So we are already a week into March, and did I post it on Twitter today? I just posted something on Twitter today, on the Booktube Chicks Twitter. I'm knocking things over too, but we're reading Before She Ignites by Jody Meadows this month, and this is way bigger than I expected it to be. It's like over 500 pages, and there's no audiobook that I can find. So we know where this is going. But this is what we're reading this month.
There's no audiobook
Not at the
from
library. Not at the library.
Like, it's not available, or the line is too long.
Like, it's not there at all. I think it might be. There's some audiobooks that are exclusive to Audible. Throne of Glass. So it might be.
Really? Okay.
Might be that. But our live show for this is going to be on Sunday, March 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on this channel, follow us at Booktube Chicks on Twitter for any updates. And then also happening the day before, on the 27th, we're doing Pages and Pals, which is a monthly live read-in that's hosted by the three of us, and that's over on Kat's channel. We don't have a time for that yet, but time is to be determined and will be posted on Twitter as well. But that's just an hour of free reading. We're not specifically reading anything. It's fun reading with friends, so you have the companionship. But that's everything that's going on with us in March, as far as live shows, and I'm excited to pick this one up. I don't know about you guys, but the only thing I've read by Jody Meadows is the Lady Janie's series, but that's like her and 2 other people.
I haven't even read that, so
you should. It's so good. But yeah, I'm interested to see her solo work and see if I enjoy this. I was not expecting it to be this big.
I hope I can find an audiobook.
Let me know if you do, because I would love one. I do have the ebook, so I can, like, I feel like reading ebooks on the computer is so much faster for me. But yeah, that's everything we have for the live show for Concrete Rose. Let us know if you're going to be joining us for Before She Ignites. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Booktube Chicks. And we will see you guys next month for our next live discussion. Bye.
Bye.